Right. Hello, welcome back to this week's episode of How Long Ref. This week I'm joined by rugby referee and a personal friend of mine, Freddie Wetherell. Freddie, how are you? All good, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, James? You all right?
Not too bad, thanks. Pretty overcast here in Bristol today. I don't know how the weather's doing up in Norwich.
Um, Same here as well. Very
Same
cloudy.
here. Very UK weather, isn't it? Today we're going to talk about refereeing and how that's shaped your future and how you look to further that. So let's just get started by asking Freddie, how long have you been refereeing for and how did you start?
I got into refereeing about 15, 16 years old. Started playing originally for my local rugby team. Got injured at about 16 years old. And I thought, how do I give back to the game? So I went to refereeing. Started refereeing like minis under 12s. And then from there, to progress up the level, joined my local refereeing society, which is Norfolk. And then since then, not looked back since. My first adult game was probably about 17 years old, and I was at the time the youngest in the society, or the youngest in the Eastern Counties to referee an adult game, which I think that record might still stand. I don't know, but yeah, that's just how it started, and I'm not looked back since. And I'm now 22, nearly 23 in a couple of weeks' time. So
Yeah.
so
Happy
yeah.
birthday for a couple of weeks' time. We're a bit early, but
Thank you.
there you go. You said there you mentioned you started refereeing adult games at 17. Would you say that was pressure? Because you're still technically, you're definitely still a teenager. 17. Do you feel a lot of pressure refereeing adults then?
Quite a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. There was, especially for my first adult game, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I knew what I was doing,
Yeah.
but
But
I didn't know the tricks of the trade and stuff like that, how to contain players properly, what other like coaches and players would look for in a ref. I remember after my first adult game, I just didn't want to ref at all. I told my dad that in the car on the way back, and look what's happened to me since. I've
yeah.
I've probably refereed over nearly 500 games, actually even more than that, to be fair. Um,
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah.
yeah, 17 years old going in and refereeing, it takes some sort of knowledge of the game, I suppose. I think that it's helped as well that I used to be a referee as well. I've come from a football background, you from a rugby one. I don't think you'll hate me for saying this, but I think if I was 17 and I used to referee under academy games at 17. So I think if we were maybe looking at what career paths we've taken, I don't think I would have been able to perhaps referee a game at 17 years old of adults, perhaps like rugby. Would you say that's something that rugby helps do further young careers in that aspect more than football?
I would say yes, you earn way more respect in rugby than compared to football. I mean, if I was a 17-year-old refereeing my first adult game in football, I would know what to do. I'd be getting called names under the sun.
Yeah,
But in rugby, there's
as I
just so
have.
much respect. They call you sir. They grant
Yeah.
you as much respect as possible. Some teams do. Some other teams treat you like rubbish, like
Yeah.
past experiences have. But yeah.
And you've refereed abroad as well. Talk to us about those experiences and perhaps what was your
Uh,
favorite one?
I refereed at. Luckily, I've been invited to many prestigious events around the world at such a young age. I got allowed to go to Dubai International Sevens, refereed there. Done a bit of camera work, which links into my university degrees. Um, Gibraltar as well. Got allowed to go out there to do some refereeing and some camera work. Um, Lisbon, the biggest youth rugby tournament out there. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably pick Dubai.
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's not just for the money.
uh, the weather was lovely. I got to referee some quality rugby games, and I got to meet the international referees, some international rugby players as well. Got to watch Becky Hill as well, so win-win all around, I'd
What's
say.
not to like? Yeah, exactly. You were part of the university's scholarship as well program for the referees. How would you say
That
that
is
that
correct,
helped?
yes.
How would you say that that helped? And
It's all
talk
down
to
to
yeah,
Chris White. It is. I got scouted by him about 17, 18 years old. I got put into contact by him, by other universities. They said, "Have you not tried looking at University of Gloucester?" So I went there, looked there, got in contact with Chris and some of the referee scholars at that time, and just fell in love with it then, like what they were offering to me, the kit, the games, and stuff like that. Um, Even the off-field stuff, like the workshops, being able to pick minds of like the ex-professional referees like Chris, Christoph Ridley, Matt Carley, and then being linked into just high ranking people in the RFU. It's not it's not what you know, it's who you know, I would say, which is this valuable piece of information I've been always taught by my mum and by Chris as well.
That's nice.
That's then linked into great opportunities such as going out to Portugal. I got to referee the Premiership Under-18 Academy Finals day up at Kingsholm, which was a great experience to see what academy rugby looks like and how fast-paced. Some great opportunities to referee as well.
That's good. That's nice to see that the university almost encourages people to follow their dreams. And of course, me and you live not too far away from the Kingsholm, but obviously on Kingsholm Road. So yeah, that was a big shout out there. Obviously, like I said, we've come from two different backgrounds, but of course you follow football. Unfortunately, you're a Liverpool fan.
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah, we don't have to talk too much about that. We'll talk about the more the refereeing side of things as a West Ham fan. Obviously, a lot of referees recently have come under a lot of stick and rightly so in some cases. How do you think that the refereeing almost could in the Premier League could take after what the rugby refs do?
I would probably say in the likes of using VAR, well, compared to use the TMO in rugby, I would say a lot needs to be done. For me personally, the VAR shouldn't be interfering in every single stoppage of play. They should only be interfering in the high impact decisions. And for me personally, when it comes to rugby, the referee is the main guy who decides what happens and what goes. And he doesn't always need to take the advice of the referee for the TMO. And what they need to do in football is the referee needs to make the sole decision at the end of the day. He's the guy who's in the middle. It's not the VAR.
Yeah,
it's the ref. So
is that like I know that in tennis you have challenges available. I don't know. You'll be more versed in the NFL. You follow the NFL. Do they have challenges or is it?
They have coaches reviews. Yes, they have their coaches challenges.
Do you reckon that could work in football over here?
You would have to trial it most likely. Like the I wouldn't say grassroots, but maybe like academy games and trial games and stuff like that, and see how it progresses from there. If it goes well, then I say yes, we can roll it into the top tier. But there needs to be some like tweaked alterations. Like you can't obviously challenge everything. You could only challenge like the high impact decisions, like handballs, offsides, red cards, and stuff like that. So those are just some suggestions.
I think a lot of it comes down to I don't want to dig refs out, but they almost seems week on week there's another refereeing decision that's almost like up for grabs and a referee's made a wrong decision. Do you think that they feel the scrutiny more now than ever now that the VAR's in? Do you think that plays a part as well?
I would say the referee. I mean, if you look at the FA Cup games of the weekend where they had no VAR at all, a lot of decisions were you can tell how much the referee relies on VAR. If you look at the Arsenal game with Havertz and the penalty, in no world that's a penalty at all. But if it goes to VAR will either overturn it in a heartbeat or there and then just stay with the referee's decision. I think referees are coming under way more scrutiny at the moment with the use of VAR, and that's because VAR is not being used in the correct way.
Is it a lot easier to use the more technical side in rugby, would you say? I think we could all agree that it is, but talk to us about what the process is that goes on involving it in rugby.
So the process of rugby is basically the referee and the ARs just ref the game as usual, and quietly in the background when nobody knows, in a caravan in most likely the parking lot, the CMO will just be watching the game back to see if the referee's missed any like high impact decisions such as red card incidents or foul play. The referee will always go back to the TMO if they feel they've missed something, such as they don't have a clear grounding for a knockout, or if they have a clear grounding for a try which they haven't seen, or there's been a knock on in the build of play, forward pass, etc. And then from there, they're just working hand in hand. The referee will always lead, and the VAR will always then, or the TMO will always then add in valuable information which the referee might have not seen, or which will be very useful to eventually coming out to the right decision.
It's almost as if in rugby, like I think that obviously rugby has had its high profile referees like Nigel Owens, and obviously football has had its high profile referees in Mike Dean. But I feel as if there's more high profile. The footballer referees are put on a more like higher pedestal of like people watching. So like obviously more recently we've had David Coote and the problems around him as yourself as a Liverpool fan. We won't go too far into that. But do you feel that situation was justified by him, or do you feel like he should have kept those opinions to himself and almost just kept quiet?
I think about like being a Premier League referee, he referees at the best standard, comfortably in the world at the moment. I've always said the Premier League is always the best league out there, but we've got the worst referees. When you're refereeing at that standard week in, week out, you basically need to have a low profile.
Yeah.
Basically, you need to keep your opinions to yourself. You need to trust people who you can only trust with your life. You can't be telling people that Jurgen Klopp is what you think of a club, etc. You can't really be sharing that.
No, you can't.
It's a bit of a silly decision, and he's only got himself to blame at this moment in time.
Exactly. He would have sacrificed so much, given up so much of his time, and his life becoming a football referee, and that's all gone away in one stupid decision. Yeah.
Trying to become a referee, he's probably thrown away about 20 years, maybe 15 years down the drain of hard work to get where he is, and then a minute of a slip up has cost him his whole career.
Yeah.
No, there's no way he's going to get back from that at all. No. He won't be back into refereeing at all.
No.
After that.
But like you said, he's only got himself to blame.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. I don't really want to know what else to talk about. I think we've had a long conversation about the refereeing state of football and rugby. I don't think there's anything else that I've got to add unless you've got a burning question there.
What would you do from your point of view? What would you implement to make VAR better and take the pressure off referees?
I like the in the Tottenham Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup. I don't know if you watched it a couple of weeks ago, where the referee actually had to explain the decision over the tannoy. I think that's a very good way of almost, because I think a lot of what doesn't help VAR is there's a lot of people in the crowd not knowing what's going on. If you look on the screen, they'll just flash up VAR checking offside, checking goal, checking handball. I feel as if the crowd could hear, and it's obviously right now where we can only hear the referee, if the crowd could hear the VAR making their decision, because obviously in the post-production TV show that they do on Sky Sports, there's a whole conversation going on between the referee and a lot of people. I feel like if the people in the crowd knew what was going on, I think there'd be a lot better reception and it'd be a lot better reciprocated when they come to a decision. And also if the crowd could see it on the TV screen as well, I think those would be good. I think that's the way forward.
I think that's what they need to trial in the lower leagues.
Because they do that in rugby.
Exactly, yeah. Another thing is, for me personally, when it comes to, I know we're speaking about decision making in football, but for like simple decisions like offsides, if you look at the Euros this past summer, they're using automated offsides. Why in the Prem are we so far behind? It's taking 10 minutes, 5 minutes to make a decision on offside, where the viewer from home, for example, me, can tell that Chris Wood is 2 meters offside. It's something.
I mean, they use it in different leagues, don't they? They use it in Spain, Italy. I know they use automated offsides. Even the Champions League use it now. But yeah, like you said, but the so-called best league in the world is falling behind in innovations again.
A lot of rules need to be made. Offside rules needs to be changed. Handball rule as well is. There's quite a lot of. There's
the
a lot of
handball rule seems to change every year,
football, but they're very complex.
Yeah,
so
indeed. Well,
I think best need to change.
Indeed, I would say best of luck towards Liverpool for the rest of the season, but unfortunately, I do not mean that. So we will.
I'm keeping my head. I'm not not big-headed like most Liverpool fans at the moment. We're taking one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly. You got Arsenal on your tail now, but I feel like Arnie's boys have got enough to see him over the line.
We do have a game in hand, so if we do win, we go 7 points clear.
Yeah, you'd rather be top than the Chasers, wouldn't you? But
Exactly,
such is football. Such is football. Perfect. Thank you, Freddie. Speak to you soon, mate.
Cool. Lovely too. Thank you, mate, for having me on.
Cheers. Take it easy.